So guys, thank you for taking a couple minutes to listen and learn a little bit about sales and use tax compliance and just the state of things as a whole. What I'm hoping you guys take away from today in these brief minutes that we have together is just piquing your interest enough to and raise a couple questions that we can take offline and have a further discussion about in the back or at a later date. But first, I wanted to kick things over to my colleague, Calais, to do a little quiz and prize giveaway that we have.
So we talk about keeping your interest, and let's be honest, sales tax isn't that riveting of a subject. So we like to make it fun. So there are rewards for audience participation. So I've got 3 Starbucks gift cards to give away. I figure it's good energy before lunch. But we would like to just get a take on if these items are taxable or exempt based on how a bagel is prepared in New York. Say you are getting Starbucks in Colorado. Is the whole thing taxable? Are just straws? What about cups and lids? And third, if we look at candy bars in Indiana, do we know if a Nestle Crunch or a Kit Kat is taxable or exempt? These are actual situations. So if we want to have a volunteer for each of the 3 categories, we can have some fun. No one's biting. No one wants coffee. Yeah. Okay, so then the other one is exempt? Yeah, and you are right. So it does vary if a bagel is sliced or not. It wasn't that painful. Anyone want to take a stab at takeout beverages in Colorado? No one? $5, it's a coffee. Okay. Yes. Yep.
I would guess that straws are taxable and cups not.
Yes. I had to look at the slide. Yes. Who needs coffee? Okay, I'm going to run this back to you. And then candy bars in Indiana. Do we know, are these exempt, taxable? Are they both? This is a fun one. No. Okay, so we're getting answers. This one's fun. So if you want to go ahead and move this. So one is taxed and one is exempt. And it actually has to do in Indiana with the amount of flour in the candy bar. So those are fun facts that our team gets to analyze and then put into our software, because this isn't always common knowledge.
No, it's not. And who wants to spend time researching things like this? Thank you, Calais. This is a good preface, I think, into the rest of the presentation. A little bit about Avalara before we jump in here. At our core, we're a technology company that's solving a tax problem. And we say that because of the way that we've chosen to go to market through our integrations, including every variation of Sage in the ecosystem having a pre-built integration to provide that real-time tax determination. We rely on partners like Sage to enable us to have a magic moment where sales tax can be calculated. We have over 20,000 customers in our 14-year history. With that number of customers, chances are, as consumers yourselves, if you go out online and buy anything off of a website, you've used Avalara. So thank you for being a customer. A little bit about our partnership with Sage. It dates back to 2007. We have nearly 1,200 customers across the ecosystem utilizing our automated and outsourced sales and use tax compliance suite, and sticking with kind of the trajectory and roadmap that Sage has. We are launching an integration to Sage Business Cloud in April of 2018. Why this is important to potential prospects and customers, just quickly, I think it speaks to our track record, our proven ability to bring this real-time determination into these platforms. We have a very streamlined and repeatable process to bring our integration into these various platforms. With dozens of referenceable customers across each of these variations of Sage. So a little bit about the sales tax landscape. I think I want to preface this by talking about some of the fundamental concepts that need to be understood when approaching sales and use tax compliance. The key or fundamental concept being Nexus, and it is a connection that binds a business to a state that requires them to collect and remit sales and use tax on behalf of that state. Historically, the law of the land, which was written back in '92 before e-commerce was really a thing, used to be defined as just a physical presence. So if you had a location or employees based in a state, that was enough or the only aspect in determining whether you had an obligation to collect and remit and register on a particular state. Obviously, that's kind of an antiquated and outdated way to go about thinking about Nexus, and over the last few years, states have gotten more and more aggressive in going after the billions of dollars in missed revenue that they're missing out on by this antiquated piece of legislation. And that piece of legislation I was referring to earlier was the Quill Corp versus the state of North Dakota. It's a case that all businesses go back to when they're arguing with states on whether they have a Nexus obligation, Amazon being top of mind right now. But a key case that's coming down the pipeline and a decision will be made in June of this year is South Dakota versus Wayfair, which is the home good marketplace. This has a potential to fundamentally shift and change sales and use tax and how businesses need to approach it. It has the potential to basically supersede or I guess revoke what was established as far as a Nexus ruling back in '92. So this map that we're seeing behind us is obviously a map of the US. The different colors denote different sales tax jurisdictions. So just the tip of the iceberg is determining where, in fact, you have a tax obligation. And again, we have a team of tax experts, ex-state auditors, and tax attorneys on staff that help complement the core part of our business, which is our technology to manage the day in and day out compliance. But once you've established where you need to register, and you do in fact get registered, the fun is just starting. You need to accurately pick up on and calculate all of the applicable states, counties, city, and local special taxing jurisdictions that apply to that particular transaction and based on where your customer is located. There's over 16,000 taxing jurisdictions in the US. And a common misconception that I have to overcome a lot, speaking with hundreds of customers over the course of a year, is that zip codes equal sales tax jurisdictions. Sales and use tax jurisdictions and sales and use tax is administered at the state and local level. Zip codes were developed by the United States Postal Service for shipping. They literally have nothing to do with one another. And that is the native functionality that is found in any really e-commerce or ERP platform out of the box to manage sales and use tax compliance. It really is a stopgap for businesses. So drilling into that map a little further, this is actually a suburb of Denver, Colorado, Commerce City, Colorado. Again, the different colors denote different taxing jurisdictions, and you can see we have streets with houses lined on either side. One side of the street we have a 9.25% tax rate. The other side we have a 4.75% tax rate. All obviously within the same zip code. If you were utilizing the native rate table functionality that's housed within these ERP systems, including Sage included, you would have gotten this calculation wrong, and you would have been on the hook for the difference should you have been audited. So something to think about, and a lot of folks don't realize it gets this granular, and this is just certainly one example. As Calais, explained at the beginning of the presentation, in addition to picking up on all these jurisdictional assignments, things like product taxability are also something that you need to pick up on. And this example does not capture that. So in real time, Avalara as a solution is able to pick up on things like jurisdictional assignments. We back our calculations and service with an accuracy guarantee. We're able to pick up on things like product and service taxability. We have support for over 2,000 different product and service taxability codes. So no matter what you're selling or where you're selling it, we'll be able to pick up on that and tax it appropriately. So it's really providing peace of mind and knowing that it's being done correctly. So in addition to doing the upfront calculation, taking into account all those variables that we discussed, managing exemption or resale certificates, especially in the Sage 100 space, this is a huge value add just because of the nature of the customers that typically use Sage 100 and being manufacturing heavy. They typically sell to resellers or big box stores and don't have a direct sales tax requirement. But you do have, or should have, processes around managing exemption and resale certificates that you should be collecting to basically alleviate you of any obligation or, get you off the hook for any potential sales tax that should have been owed. We have a tool that basically, again, ties into Sage and the customer number within Sage, digitalizes these physical pieces of paper that you should be collecting that are probably sitting in like a filing cabinet somewhere, brings that into the sales tax determination and decision process with capturing key pieces of information off of those and turning them into like a dynamic document. So in summary, Avalara is the most efficient, affordable, and accurate way to manage sales and use tax compliance, from the upfront calculation to managing exemption certificates to the filing and remittance of the calculated taxes and collected taxes to the state and local taxing jurisdictions. And again, one of our competitive advantages and why we've been so successful over these past 14 years is because of our partnerships and the depth of our integrations. We are a seamless fit. There's your day-to-day process will change slightly, but for the better. But once it's set up, there's no intervention required on your behalf. And that's all I have. So thank you guys for your time. Any questions? In the corner.